Hello, everybody. Chad Lefevre here. This is a short bit that I want to do today, which is picking up on something that I was talking about a couple days ago on a different recording around whether or not we are ready, whether or not you are ready for the transformation of our economy and of our society, which is already underway right now. A lot of people are excited about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going to bring us the ability to be more efficient with our work, to be more expeditious with our work, to be faster, more effective. And there's lots of exciting things, great things that artificial intelligence is going to provide us. However, something that very few people haven't been talking about, there's a few starting to, something that I've been saying for the last couple of years, is that there is a massive displacement coming of employees who used to be secure in their job as employees, who were told, if you work for us, we're going to pay you X amount, you're going to get a vacation, you're going to be able to buy a house, buy a car, do all the things that you need to do, and you're going to have some kind of security. Artificial intelligence is going to completely disrupt this. It's going to completely disrupt the economy as we know it, because it's going to take over a lot of the doing that we've had to hire human beings now for a number of years to be able to do things. AI is going to do them. So we won't need the human beings anymore. That means we need to help people make the transition from a human doing back into a human being. But what's important about this, and what I want to drill into on this today, is that all of us in our doing, especially if you're in a career or as an employee or a job, the doing kind of has become our identity over the course of our life. And when we displace someone because we no longer need them to do the things that we needed them to do in the past, and they're now responsible to figure out how are they going to make money, how do they understand their value, there is this moment of crisis, this identity crisis, which is going to happen. And this identity crisis is one that is going to put people in a state which I think we're on the verge of a mental health crisis, the likes of which we have never seen before in our society. When you take away someone's identity, you also take away their ability to make a living, the ability to provide for their families, the ability to live the life that they want to live. The human being goes into a frenetic, fearful, feral state. And that state is one where they either go within or without. If they go without, they can become very violent. If they go within, they can become very self-destructive. And no one's really talking about this in the AI revolution that we're in the midst of right now. A lot of people are rightly talking about all the amazing things that it has the potential to do. But as a society, we have to handle this carefully. We have to handle this delicately and intentionally. And specifically now, I want to speak to those of you who might be listening who own companies, who have employees, and ask if you think that you have and are in the process of responsibly and ethically integrating artificial intelligence into your business. And equally important, if not more important, because of the people you're going to have to let go of because you don't need them anymore, since AI is actually taking over some of those roles, are you setting them up to be able to transition from a world that they have only ever known as doing inside of an employee context for which they are paid, and it provided a sense of security that is no longer going to be bankable? So when people leave their jobs and they can't just go up the proverbial street and find another job, because all companies start to do this, where do they go? Now, we've created an organization called The Most Important Conversations, which is a community of communities organization to intentionally assist people in that transformation of their own life, to move from being an employee into a self-employed or a business owner or an entrepreneurial way of living. Now, this is not an easy thing to do. The 10% of people in the market and the economy who currently constitute self-employed entrepreneur, business owner status, most of them made that choice to be there. And they did so in a way where they plugged into a community and they learned on the go, and they probably had some intentionality behind it in terms of maybe they had some money that they could stretch themselves with as they learned the ropes of how to understand their value, how to package their value, how to monetize their value, how to market it, how to network, how to connect with others, and to do so from a place of high creativity, high power. The people who are going to be let go from their positions in these companies are not going to be afforded that opportunity. It's going to hit them quite quickly in most cases. And if you're not preparing for the potentiality, if you're an employee right now and you're not preparing for this potentiality, you're setting yourself up for a really devastating blow. And so this is an invitation for you to check out our organization, TMICglobal.com. It stands for the Most Important Conversations. And why do we call it that? The Most Important Conversations is an organization that is focused on the fact that it is through conversations that human beings socially construct our reality. And if you're going to be in the small business world or the entrepreneur world or the business owner world, you need to learn how to have meaningful, high value, high impact conversations. You need to know how to understand your own value. You need to understand how to properly network. You need to understand how to plug into a resource pool, how to connect into a community of other entrepreneurs. And even if you end up not being someone who is displaced as a result of artificial intelligence, these are all amazing skills to learn in this particular business climate. Because it's not just conversing with other people that's going to be important going forward, but also understanding how to converse with artificial intelligence. In other words, the art of conversation is really part of the art of creativity and being a creator. A lot of people think of creativity as art, music, writing, the obvious arts. But the reality is all of us are creators all the time. We are always creating, even when we don't realize it. We were born creators. Creativity, imagination, play, spontaneity, these are all parts of the creative world. And we are all creating our world all the time. We just probably don't realize it. Most of us are creating a world by default versus by design. Most of us are living lives that feel like they happen to us, as opposed to lives that we were really intentional with as a creator, that we, by design, implemented each and every step that brought us to where we currently are. Most of us have not created a life that way. Most of our lives happen to us, including your job, quite possibly, including your career. I remember when I was first going to university and I was out of high school, and you kind of think, well, what are the jobs out there that are available? What are the careers? And the metric was, what are the careers that make a lot of money? A lot of people think of that. Some people think about, what do I really want to do? But most of us think about, how do we obtain a certain career path that provides stability, that provides the ability to be flexible, to create a life that we want. But we kind of sacrifice what the job is. It's like whatever it is, as long as it pays well. And so if that's not you, that's fine. Maybe you took a different path. But the reality is most of us are living lives that we feel like we've kind of fallen into. In fact, a lot of us when we get to our 40s, we kind of have the proverbial midlife crisis. How did I get here? Right? You wouldn't be asking that question if your life was by design. For those of you who are in your 20s right now, maybe you're in the beginning of trying to think about these things. And you're entering a world where the way that your parents and grandparents were able to reliably predict how they were going to make a living, getting a job, working for a company, having a pension and benefits and all of that stuff, that's quickly going away. So you're already present to the fact that you need to understand your own value, learn how to be able to plug into communities, learn how to network, learn how to monetize your skill sets or capabilities. Go inward and figure out what it is that I'm even interested in doing with my life, what makes me come alive. Aliveness is something that all of us human beings are really sinking after. And so wherever you are on the journey, the reality is we are where we are right now, where artificial intelligence is completely disrupting the economy and the way that we've typically and generally thought about how we do things in the world, and how we make a living, and how we create community, and how we connect to others. And I'm not sounding the alarm around this to try to be alarmist, because there's a lot of great things that artificial intelligence is bringing to the table and making possible. But we do need to be responsible. We need to be able to respond to the conditions as they are and to our own life path accordingly. And so the invitation is to consider plugging into our community of the most important conversations. This is a bit of a public service announcement, I guess. But you're going to need people that you can count on, that you can bank on, that you can plug in with, that you can connect to. We have, over the last 15 or so years, become an increasingly isolated and siloed society. And I think that the pandemic, if it did anything, is it showed us how much human beings are social creatures that need others. And so even if you think, hey, I've got it kind of locked down, I've got a job, I've got security, I'm here to tell you that that is going to be massively disrupted over the course of the next 5 years. That there are now some other videos that are coming out of people saying the same thing that I've been saying for at least 3 years now. As soon as ChatGPT came on the scene, I was like, oh boy, I can see where this is going. Lots of great things, but lots of we don't need these people anymore. And we're already seeing companies starting to lay people off. That's going to accelerate. So this is a public service announcement for you to step into your power, take ownership over your future. And by that, I mean, ensure that you are starting to engage in the types of things, the communities, educating yourself about artificial intelligence, how to use artificial intelligence, educating yourself in the world of ontology, which is the nature of being. Who are you? What makes you come alive? What gives you aliveness? How do you package that? How do you monetize that? How do you network in order to bring it out into the world? All of these things are skill sets that if you're an employee, you likely have not really spent a lot of time, certainly not mastering, if even approaching at all. Because when you're in an employee situation, you kind of have been trained to just show up, do the thing you've been hired to do, don't get creative, don't color outside the lines, and we'll pay you for that. And what you don't want to do is be in a situation where, whether it's 6 months from now, 2 years from now, you think you've got this on lockdown and you finally get the notice that company X doesn't need you anymore. You've got a mortgage, you've got this debt, you've got car payments, you've got maybe kids in college. If you're a young person, maybe you've taken out student loans and you already are acquiring debt. I was talking to someone who was only in their early 20s recently, and they were going to go into computer science, and were told by their professor, we don't know if you can even get a job in computer science by the time you graduate in 4 years. And so he made the decision to drop out of computer science and to instead go into business because he's already seeing the writing on the wall. But there's some people who are in the IT departments right now. And with the rapidity that AI is being deployed and I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day about a new platform that is coming out that he's involved with that it connects human language and bridges human language with coding so that you don't need to know how to code anymore. You can literally explain to this AI the type of website you want to make, and it will do it in minutes. I mean, this is where we're headed right now. So this isn't meant to be alarmist or to scare you. into doing nothing. If anything, it's shining a light on the thing that nobody's really talking about, which is that there is going to be massive displacement of workers, and we need to ensure that they have as soft a landing as possible, that they are supported as possible to transition into entrepreneurship, self-employment, business ownership, so that they can weather the storm and not end up losing their house and whatever else. I mean, this is truly something we're going to be seeing happening. Another friend of mine was saying last week, he says, who knows what the future looks like? I'm concerned we're going to see a bunch of people on the street because they didn't prepare. And so this is my intention here, is to sound the alarm. Please be prepared. Please begin to think of, even if you have a job, it's time for you to start diversifying your skills. It's time for you to start going deep and transforming from a human doing back into a human being. Find out your creative genius, find out what gives you aliveness, discover it, build something. Maybe it's on the side for you. We came out of the gig economy, but I don't think it's really over. I think that it's time for people to start expanding what's possible for them and not simply relying on the belief that you've got this thing totally locked down. So that's all I really wanted to invite you into considering today. You can learn more about our work at TMIC Global. It's a free community, so you don't even have to pay to join. Yes, there are paid things once you're in the community, but not everything is paid. But the intention really is to be a resource for people so that you are not blindsided by the coming transformation. For as great as all the things that artificial intelligence is going to provide to us, it is going to have a human toll on it. And if there was ever a time where we need to start asking the question, what really defines what it means to be human, it's going to be in these next several years, which is a totally separate topic that I'm going to get into on a future post. But today I just wanted to extend an invitation for you to engage with TMIC, follow our social media. If you're not already, sign up, be part of the free community. And we are going to have a lot of resources and tools that are available to members only, even free members, and in addition to the stuff that we put out on social. So thanks for your time today, and we'll see you on another video soon.